Jai Hind everyone. So dear students, this is economics class and the chapter which is going on is money and credit. Dear students, we have discussed many topics in this chapter. Topics like barter system, money as a medium of exchange, double coincidence of bonds, modern forms of currency. So we discussed these topics in previous period. Now dear students, let's start today's period with new topics of this chapter. So please be with me for next 30 minutes. So dear students, today we will discuss loan activities of banks. So let us take the story of banks further. What do the banks do with the deposits which they accept from the public? You go to bank and you deposit your money. So the question is, what do the banks do with the deposits which they accept from the public? So you know there is an interesting mechanism. What is it? Banks keep only a small proportion of their deposits as cash with themselves. Just mind it. What is it? Banks keep only a small proportion what you deposit as cash. For example, banks in India these days hold about 15% of their deposits as cash. This is kept as provision to pay the depositors who might come to withdraw money from the bank on any given day. Since on any particular day, only some of its many depositors come to withdraw cash, the bank is able to manage with this cash. What I mean to say, suppose you have deposited 100 rupees in the bank. So what bank does? Bank keeps 15% of your deposit, means 15 rupees for withdrawn purposes, and the rest of the 85 rupees they give it to loan. They give it as loan. Clear? So bank and why they keep a small proportion of your deposit? For withdrawn purposes. Because there are many customers in bank who deposits their money and there are many who withdraw the money. So to keep a proper balance, they keep a small proportion of the deposits of customers. Then, as I said, banks use the major portion of the deposits to extend loans. What example I had given, that if you have deposited 100 rupees to the bank keeps 15 rupees for withdrawal purposes and major portion, that is 85 rupees, it extends as loans. You know there is a huge demand for loans for various economic activities. Many people needed loan. They want to take loan from the bank. So bank give loan to those people who are needy. We shall read more about this in the following sections. Now banks make use of the deposits to meet the loan requirements of the people. This is the function of bank, and even it is a source of income of the bank. So in this way, we can say banks mediate between those who have surplus funds, they are depositors, and those who are in need of these funds, means they are borrowers. Clear? So banks mediate between the depositors and the borrowers. Banks charge a higher interest rate on loans than what they offer on deposits. Means what banks offer on deposits, what interest rate banks offer on deposits, they take higher interest on loans. And you know the difference between what is charged from borrowers and what is paid to depositors is their income, and that is the main source of income. So I'm just giving you one example. Suppose you have deposited 100 rupees in the bank and bank offers 6% interest rate. So what will be amount? Or what will be interest? Interest will be 6 rupees. Clear? So when you deposited your money in bank, you get 6 rupees as interest. Now, suppose you have to take loan from the bank, and suppose you have taken 100 rupees from bank as a loan. So normally bank charges 9% of that loan. 9% means 9 rupees. So just try to understand. Deposit of 100 rupees, they give 6 rupees as interest, and on loan of same amount they charge 9 rupees. So the difference between these two means 9 rupees and 6 rupees, that is 3 rupees. That is the difference, and that is the source of income. You can say that is the income of the bank. Clear? So it is very easy to understand the difference between what is charged from borrowers and what is paid to depositors is their main source of income. Now we are going to discuss two different credit situations. So dear students, a large number of transactions in our day-to-day activities involves credit in some form or the other. People take credit, people take loan. So what is credit? Now the question is, what is credit? So credit or loan refers to an agreement in which the lender supplies the borrower with money, goods or services in return for the promise of future payment. Dear students, that is credit. I am repeating it again. Credit refers to an agreement in which the lender supplies the borrower with money, goods or services in return for the promise of future payment. And now I am going to give you two examples, and just try to understand that how credit works through the following examples. So one is the example of, that is festival season. It is festival season 2 months from now, and the shoe manufacturer Salim has received an order from a large trader in town for 3,000 pairs of shoes to be delivered in a month time. Salim got an order of 3,000 pairs of shoes to be delivered in a month. To complete production on time, Salim has to hire a few more workers for stitching and pasting work, because it is a big order. So Salim needs few more people, few more workers, especially for stitching and pasting work. He has to purchase the raw materials. So to meet these expenses, Salim obtains loans from two sources. Salim takes loans from two sources. What are these? First, he asks the leather supplier to supply leather now and promise to pay him later. I am repeating it again. First, he asks the leather supplier to supply leather now and promise to pay him later. Second, he obtains loan in cash from the large trader as advance payment for 1000 pairs of shoes with a promise to deliver the whole order by the end of the month. So he has taken loans from two sources, one from leather supplier and one from trader as advance payment. At the end of the month, Salim is able to deliver the order, make a good profit and repay the money that he had borrowed. So, he was benefited by taking loans. His earning was very good, so he was easily able to repay the money he had borrowed from two different sources. So, dear students, in this case, Salim obtains credit to meet the working capital needs of production, and the credit helps him to meet the ongoing expenses of production, complete production on time, and thereby increase his earnings. So we can say easily that in the case of Salim, credit plays a vital and positive role in this situation. Understand? Salim has taken credit from two sources. So in this situation, credit plays a vital and positive role. Now take another example. Swapna. Swapna, a small farmer, grows groundnut on her 3 acres of land. She takes a loan from the moneylender to meet the expenses of cultivation, and she was hoping that her harvest would help repay the loan. She will be easily able to repay the loan. But what happened? Midway through the season, the crop is hit by pests and the crop fails. What she was thinking and what happened to her. So midway through the season, the crop is hit by pests and the crop fails. Now, though Swapna sprays her crops with expensive pesticides, but it makes a little difference. And now she is unable to repay the loan. And the debt grows over the years into a large amount. Okay, now what happened to next year with Swapna? So Swapna takes a fresh loan for cultivation. And this year it is a normal crop. But the earnings are not enough to cover the old loan. And now what is the condition of Swapna? She is caught in debt. Now she has to sell a part of the land to pay off the debt. And dear student, it is the story of many farmers, many small farmers in India. Usually they take loan, and in case of unable to pay the loan, they have to sell a part of the land to pay off the loan, to pay off the debt. Clear, student? So, in rural areas, The main demand, why people take loan? So the main demand for credit is for crop production. And you know, crop production involves considerable costs on seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, water, electricity, repair of equipment, etc. And you know, there is a minimum stretch of 3 to 4 months between the time when the farmers buy these inputs and when they sell the crop. It is hardly 3 or 4 months time. Farmers usually take crop loans at the beginning of the season and repay the loan after harvest the crop. And you know, repayment of the loan is totally dependent on the income from farming. If the income is good, if the income is high, they will be easily able to repay the loan. But if income is not good, you can understand, and you can just take an example of Swapna. So dear students, in Swapna's case, the failure of the crop made loan repayment impossible. She had to sell part of the land to repay the loan. Credit, instead of helping Swapna improve her earnings, left her worse off. Means her condition was even worse off. This is an example of what is commonly called debt trap. So credit in this case pushes the borrower into a situation from which recovery is very painful. So in the case of Salim, credit plays an important, you can say vital and positive role. But in case of Swapna, even it pushes the borrower, it pushes Swapna into a situation from which recovery is very painful. So, at one side, credit play a vital role. Normally, it plays a vital role. But it also happens that credit can worsen your situation. So, it depends that why you are taking a loan and where you will use it. So in one situation, credit helps to increase earnings and therefore the person is better off than before. But in other situation, because of the crop failure, credit pushes the person into a debt trap. To repay her loan, she has to sell a portion of her land. And you know, she is clearly much worse off than before. So whether credit would be useful or not, just listen it carefully. Whether credit would be useful or not depends on the risks in the situation and whether there is some support in case of loss. So it depends that how much risk is involved. Now dear students, we are going to discuss the next segment, that is terms of credit. Okay, people take loan. So what are the terms of credit? So every loan is an agreement between the lender who gives the loan and borrower who takes loan. So every loan agreement specifies an interest rate which the borrower must pay to the lender along with the repayment of the principal. Means if you take loan from anyone, you have to pay extra as interest. In addition, lenders may demand, sometimes lenders may demand for collateral. Collateral means security against loans. What is collateral? So collateral is an asset that the borrower owns. That can be land, building, vehicles, livestock, deposits with banks, and uses this as a guarantee to a lender until the loan is repaid. Suppose if you are taking loan from anyone, he or she can ask for collateral, ask for property paper, ask for vehicle paper or livestocks, or even if you are having any deposits in bank, and they use it as guarantee until the loan is repaid. And suppose if you are unable to repay the loan, they can sell your collateral and can take the money which they needed. So what I am saying, that if the borrower fails to repay the loan, the lender has the right to sell the asset or collateral to obtain payment. Property such as land, titles, deposits with banks, livestock, and some common examples of collateral used for borrowing. People normally use for it. So dear students, today mainly we discussed about what is the source of income of the banks, what is credit, what are the credit situations, how credit can play a vital and positive role, at the same time how it can play a negative role also, like the case of Salim and case of Swapna. So dear students, that's all for today. In next class, we will discuss some other topics. Till then, please keep reading the book. Thank you and have a nice day.